Thank you so much. How's everyone doing?
Good.
All right. So as mentioned, my name is Karen Adcock. I am the Director of Recreation and Senior Services with the City of Auburn Hills. And I'd like to introduce my counterpart, Steve Cohen. Wave, Steve. Steve is our Community Development Director and our City Planner. And this was a key element of our whole process when we started Age Friendly Auburn Hills 11 years ago. It's hard to believe that, it's been that long. The slideshow is just going to be a series of pictures that I've taken and our staff has taken over the first phase. We're in phase 2 right now, but kind of so you can see some of the journey that we did. So what's Auburn Hills? Auburn Hills is not a huge town, although it's perceived as a big city. Back in 2013, we were 21,000 residents. We're now just over 26,000 residents. We're 80% business. So during the day, we have, before COVID, over 100,000 people. We get about 80,000 people that come and visit us, but what people laying their head in their bed is about 26,000 residents. Our planning commission was a perfect partner in this whole process. That's what they do. They're planners. I'm a visionary and a planner, but the planning commission were great partners in what we did. Our leadership team consisted of representatives from different departments, AARP, and community members, also from higher education and healthcare education. Having the different city departments involved was very necessary in aging because every department that we have in our city is affected by an aging population. Employees that might have aging family members, their clients or residents that come in. There's not a single department in our city that's not affected by an aging. So they needed to understand, what is an aging population going to do to our community? Like I mentioned, we had business partners, healthcare, higher education, then SMART, which is our mass transit. So why'd we do this? And I always answer, why not? It's not what Karen thinks we need, it's what our community needs. So you want to find out what your community looks like? You want to know what your residents want their community to be. It's not what our politicians or our city officials say, this is what our community needs to look like. It's about what our community wants us to look like. We might not be able to do everything that everybody wanted, of course. There is a thing called a budget that we have to be very mindful, but a lot of great ideas come out of these conversations. We knew our community demographics were changing. We have more seniors over the age of 65 in our community than we have school-age children. So that's a huge shift from a lot of different communities. So we wanted to be prepared. Although city personnel are expected to be visionaries and planners, we don't know everything, like I said, and we certainly don't know what our residents envision. A lot of times we know what the residents think when they're not happy, but they don't always tell us when they are happy. It's not controversial. What's going to be controversial about asking people their opinion? And it can get, a little tricky, but our planner is really good at keeping things, on a really happy note. So like I mentioned, we had a leadership team that developed our course of action. We went to the people. We felt that it made more sense to go to the community where the people live than come to us in city government, because sometimes that's, can make people a little less willing to chat if we go to them. We held community conversations in different regions across the city. We're very mindful to make every area that we went to churches, senior housings. We used a golf dorm in a school. We mailed out postcards to our residents. You can see some of the different people that came. Steve's really good about planning an event to make people happy. Make it a party. We had balloons, we had cookies, we had drinks. We went to the senior housing this year. Or the end of last year, we took ice cream. People will talk if you keep feeding them good things. We developed a program so everybody could stay on task, and it had guidelines in there. It even had a basic code of conduct so everybody could be heard. We held business roundtables because also, again, businesses are affected by an aging population. Again, as I mentioned in the city, you know, their employees, their caregivers, their customers. At the end of our 2-hour listening sessions, we did two things that was really important. In the program was a sticky note. It was blank. We asked everybody to write down their rock star idea. I don't care how crazy that rock star idea was. And then we put it on a big sign that said Rockstar Ideas. And then we took a picture because we were documenting. This was history. This had never been done in our city, but it's also the history of our city. You know, sometimes some of these crazy ideas, we got some really good ones, some outlandish ones, but ones that we were able to use, but it was kind of fun. So after all these, we did 16 of those meetings. And 5 minutes, okay, I'm good. You can ask Steve, I just love talking about this project. We did 16 of these conversations, and then we developed a team to develop our action plan. And that took a lot. We had over 200 ideas. Thank goodness we had an intern that worked with us because she did the heavy lifting and tried to narrow it down. We did 3 action plan committee meetings. And what we did is we did these roundtable discussions. We took those 200, divided it up. We had to pare it down, then took it back to the intern. She developed a list, and then we did it again, and then did it again to get it down to 20, which was really hard. There was so many great ideas. We worked on the plan for the next 5+ years. Well, we submitted to AARP first. They approved it. Our city council was on board, our planning commission, everybody was part of these conversations. You know, if you're a politician, please don't take this as offense, but who votes? So you got to have those folks involved, but in our planning commission, but the rest of the community. So we developed 20 different action items, different goals, objectives. Some were low-hanging fruit that we could grab right away, because it's easy to get a success in there to make everybody feel good. And some were long-term. Some of the long-term ones ended up not being accomplished because as we started investigating some of these long-terms, like a time bank, we thought it was going to be a great idea. We did some minimal research on it, and we found out it's the big time investment. We also have to hire somebody. And one of the things that the boss is really big about is don't make this cost money. We accomplished 17 out of 20 of those action plans, which made us feel really good. It changed the dynamics. It got people talking, and that was the biggest thing. But we involved all ages. It wasn't just senior citizens coming to these meetings. You'll see in some of the pictures, there's baby, you know, kids. We had a 7-year-old, you know, and he was really spouting out, this is what I want my city to look like when I'm old, which was 20, you know. But it's bringing those people, you know, into us. It started that dialogue again. All the departments all of a sudden became more aware of an older adult population. They started conversations. Our DPW, when they were doing meter checks, they saw a leak. They would call, you know, our department, the senior services department, to say, hey, can you help this folk, you know, this lady out or this gentleman? Our ordinance officers, when they would see that people had cluttered yards, we could get them resources and stuff. Fire, you know, sees a lot of seniors, a lot of it's lift assist, but in police and every department, and we had them being part of it. So when I look back at this process, I realized we did do a lot. We learned a lot, and we know we still have a long way to go. We were the first in the state and 14th in the country. We're really proud of that. We're working on, you know, our second action plan. It created partnerships. We have a KIT program. It's called Keep in Touch. We have seniors paired up with Oakland University, William Beaumont students to have phone conversations. It's not medical, it's just conversations. I think someone mentioned about a lot of the students are lonely too. This was all during COVID. So, you know, we threw that in there too in the mix. We have a hop-up physical therapy program that's now community-based referrals, all because of these conversations. City Council has made This process, age-friendly now is livable communities, part of their city goals. It's in the budget. Every year we have these big meetings. I keep reminding them, hey, don't forget about livable communities. Makes you all look good. It helps in our budgeting process, but programs and services for all ages. So during COVID, because of the awareness, we started, people started reaching out, what can we do? We had a substantial donation from a company and 275 seniors received 80 pounds of fresh fruit and vegetables because they had been part of that conversation. We made 12,000 wellness calls from volunteers in the community. Activity packs were made for kids that should have been in day camp. So all this was because people started talking, they were reaching out to what we were doing. Next steps, we're in phase 2. We've started our community conversations. We're doing a mini survey. We're getting people involved so we can see what the next 5 years are going to be. Was it worth it? Absolutely. I'd do it in a heartbeat again because it opened the door to conversation of what a whole community looks like. Thank you.